Protectors of the Grid, Chapter 8. I'm not sure, she admitted. Ben waited without saying anything. The tone of Tara's voice had changed. It had gone from snarky and strong to wistful and unsure. Well, what do you think might be a good next step? He spoke gently in response, without his usual hint of sarcasm. I think that I'm going to let the universe start showing off for you. She too had walked to the railing. Now she turned to the ocean, lifted her hands toward the sky, and began to speak, just as if she were talking to a human. Mama, I don't know what to do next, but I'd love to see Dad, and Ben needs one of your wisest teachers to learn from. Please, you take it from here. Thanks. She held her hands outstretched with palms up for several moments, then smiled, brought her palms together in front of her heart, and inclined her head. When she turned to face Ben again, her face was relaxed and peaceful. I'm ready for bed, Ben. See you in the morning. She leaned over to kiss his cheek. I'm right behind you, sweetie, but I need to sort through things a bit before my mind will stop spinning. He kissed the top of her head. Sweet dreams. Sweetie? That had popped out without his intending, but both Ben and Tara realized their relationship had changed. It felt good. Tara did have sweet dreams, but their wisps disappeared into the vaults of memory as she woke, leaving only a sense of well-being. The smells of food and coffee pulled her into the day. She threw on a pair of shorts and a tee and padded barefoot into the kitchen. Ben looked up from the kitchen table and grinned. Mornin', sunshine? Where are those great smells coming from? You sure don't cook. What? I'm hurt, Tara, deeply wounded. He held his heart in mock dismay, then grinned again. There was coffee in the cabinet, and even cream in the fridge. I've got the breakfast sandwiches warming in the oven. Soon we'll be fully nourished. Wow, you must have had a transfusion from the Energizer Bunny. I like it. I like it. There were mere crumbs on their plates when they heard pounding on the door. They looked at each other, stunned. No one was supposed to know they were there. I'll go. Tara stood quietly. Ben nodded. Outside the screen door, a lanky kid in ragged cutoffs fidgeted until he heard the front door open. Yes? Tara Kano? Yes, she replied cautiously. A relieved grin split his broad brown face. Then Papa Kala was right. Dad? Yep, he felt you arrive and tracked your energy here. Told me where to find you. Tara grinned. Mama had worked another miracle of synchronicity. And he said to hurry up, we have work to do. Need to go into the Halawa Valley. Come on. Wait a minute, what's your name? Capono or Slingshot if you prefer. Tara rolled her eyes. Slingshot? I think I prefer Capono. Wait just a minute, I'm not alone. Right, Papa Kale said you brought your cousin. Ben had appeared beside her. The kid looked at him curiously. Ben let him look. Did I hear that we're going somewhere? Do we need to bring anything? Where are we going? And are we going in that? He noted the bald tires and cracked windshield on the old Jeep. Capono looked hurt. Hey, show some respect. Dolly is faithful and true. Besides, he looked around, I don't see any other set of wheels. We're going deep into the valley, so unless you want to walk. We're going to the valley. Something inside Tara jumped with joy. Sure, Papa Kala and Simeona got the hail ready. They and the spirits been waiting for you to get here. Hala? I've forgotten. That mean house, right? Ben looked embarrassed, but Tara's mind was elsewhere and she paid no mind. Yes, a hail is a house or building. The air in the cottage was crackling with excitement, questions, and anxiety. Tara could feel the pressure of tears behind her eyes, but her grin nearly split her face. Dad! I'm going to see Dad! She whirled. Ben, all we've got is our one bag each anyway. Let's grab 'em and go. She darted past him and ran down the hall to grab her stuff. Ben looked a little bewildered, shook his head and sighed, but turned to stride down the hall to his bedroom to grab his gear. Tara sat in the front seat, her seatbelt automatically fastened. Ben sat behind and held on to the roll bar. He had to stay alert in order to keep his seat in the Jeep. The road was even enough, though, that he could twist and turn to see the terrain as they passed. They drove past coconut groves and up cliffs where you could see so much watery horizon that you remembered you were on an island. Then down again, nearer the water, where signs pointed to ancient fish ponds where Hawaiians practiced aquaculture 800 years ago. The beaches made Ben want to jump out of the Jeep to run through the sand and into the water. Later, Tara shouted into the wind. When did you start reading my mind? Ben shouted back. I'll never tell. They pulled into a clearing where a hale and a vegetable garden stood resolute against the ever-encroaching jungle. Capono stopped the jeep at the edge of the clearing and climbed out. He stood and waited for Tara, who grabbed Ben as he was about to walk past. Wait, Capono began to sing a beautiful chant, asking permission to enter the space. A husky voice sang a response, and Capono led his 2 charges forward. They were halfway across the clearing when a form appeared in the doorway. Capono paused, put his hands palms together in front of his heart, and inclined his head. Tara tossed her bag aside and ran past him into the arms that opened wide to let her in. Dad? The whispered word held layers of questions, all of which were answered by the enveloping arms that drew her close. Dad? She started again, pulling back, but her father put a gentle finger on her lips. He brought the finger back to his own lips, kissed it, then once again laid it on hers. His eyes glowed and his smile was gentle as he then used that same finger to trace the contours of her cheeks, the line of her brow, the curve of her chin. Tara gazed at her father a moment more, then buried her face in his shoulder and wept. Ben stood in the doorway of the hale, unsure what to do next. Behind him, Capono waited patiently. Then a husky voice spoke. Come in, son. Ben stepped around Tara and her father into the room. He saw a broad back and a long fall of lustrous dark hair working at the kitchen counter. When she turned, he saw a rounded abundance of feminine power that reminded him of the ancient goddess statues. When she smiled, her rosy cheeks grew more rounded, their glow more pronounced. He looked behind her and saw a battered wooden dish where she had been pounding taro root to make poi. The husky voice spoke again as the woman tilted her head to study him. Her chin lifted up a bit as though she saw what needed to happen. Ben couldn't be sure, but he thought he heard her say, "He's ready." Before he could think what to do, she stepped around the kitchen table and walked with a slight sway to stand in front of him. This is how we greet one another. Beloved. She placed a soft, moist hand on either side of his face and gently pulled his head down until it met her own forehead. Now we share breath. And as their foreheads touched, she said, "Ha!" Without thinking, his ha met hers. They each straightened, though she left her hands on his shoulders for a moment before turning to head back to her work. Come over and help me, Ben. Ben felt totally dazed, caught in a weird new world where everybody knew what was going on except him. No. Wait, not weird. Just using that word built a wall of resistance inside him. He had to find a way to think about this that didn't shut him down. So, this is strange maybe, unfamiliar perhaps because I haven't experienced it before. Or maybe I've experienced it before but not acknowledged it. He examined what he was feeling. Definitely curious. A tiny bit anxious maybe, but not really afraid. Interesting that in all its strangeness it feels, well, not quite familiar. More like pieces of a puzzle are clicking into place. I feel aligned. The process of this powerful shift occurred in mere seconds, but the change in his vibration was felt throughout many dimensions. He stepped beside the woman, who smiled without turning her head. Simeona, was all she said. By now, Ben was getting used to people reading his mind, so he simply said, Thanks, Simeona. Then he felt a pair of arms come around his middle from behind, arms that released him just enough that he could turn around to face her. Tara's eyes were red, but her face radiated happiness. Behind her was his former uncle by marriage, similar happiness glowing on his broad brown face. From behind Ben, Simeona spoke. Kaylee, please pull some beers out of the fridge, and that platter of fruit and stuff from the bottom shelf. Everyone, we gonna go out, sit down and tells us some what's up.